How's it going, guys? We have a pass level question for biochem, immuno, hematology, a bunch of different subjects. So we have a 21-year-old dude who has pernicious anemia. So we clearly have a macrocytic anemia. Hemoglobin should be 13 to 17.5 in males, non-menstruating women 12 to 17.5, menstruating women MCV should be 80 to 100. So it's a megaloblastic anemia, and he clearly doesn't have B12 deficiency because he's not a vegan slash strict vegetarian. And we have hypersegmented neutrophils, which can be seen with folate, B9, or B12 deficiency. But this is going to be B12 deficiency because we are forcing you to choose a hypersensitivity here, and pernicious anemia is going to be antibodies against parietal cells, which is type 2 hypersensitivity. Okay, so antibodies against your own cells, receptors, tissues, that's type 2. Type 3 is going to be when you have antigen-antibody complexes in the blood. So type 2, pernicious anemia, exceedingly high yield. Can be other things like Graves' disease, that's exceedingly high yield, activating antibodies against your TSH receptor. But so pernicious anemia, you're knocking out your parietal cells in the stomach. Well, what do parietal cells do? They secrete not just hydrochloric acid, where because you're knocking them out, you can get chronic gastritis, okay, with decreased acid production, but the parietal cells also secrete intrinsic factor, which is necessary for B12 absorption in the terminal ileum. Okay, so B12 requires binding to intrinsic factor, and then ultimately it'll be absorbed in the terminal ileum. Sounds too easy for some of you, I understand that, but you'd be amazed at the number of students who get this easy shit wrong, okay? So we're looking at these three answers here. Type 2 hypersensitivity, decreased ileal absorption, that's hyper basic for most of you. That's the 95% get that correct in Qbank. And then the harder part, which I've covered in my clips if you've done my stuff, is the OMG, homocysteine, and the methylmalonic acid stuff. So you need to know that in both B9 and B12 deficiencies, homocysteine is increased. Okay, it's not a numerical step 1 anymore. You don't have to freak out about all this nonsense biochemistry, okay, with all the pathways and stuff. Waste of fucking time. If you want, go to my biochemistry PDF and you can look at everything I've written there. I've linked it below. You can look at that for context. It can help you remember this stuff if you're one of those people. So homocysteine is going to be increased with both B9 and B12 deficiency, but it's only with B12 deficiency that we have methylmalonic acid increased. It's not going to be increased with folate deficiency. Okay, so in terms of the breakdown of certain types of proteins and even fatty acids, okay, you can liberate propionyl-CoA, and propionyl-CoA will yield methylmalonyl-CoA and ultimately go to succinyl-CoA in the TCA cycle. As I said, a bunch of garbage, okay, but B12 will help convert methylmalonyl-CoA into succinyl-CoA, so if you can't do that, you get a buildup of methylmalonic acid. So type 2 hypersensitivity for pernicious anemia. You got antibodies against your parietal cells in the stomach. It's type 2 hypersensitivity. Parietal cells secrete acid as well as intrinsic factor. You need intrinsic factor to bind B12 in the gut so that we can get absorption of B12 in the terminal ileum. Issues with the terminal ileum, such as Crohn's disease as an example, can cause B12 malabsorption. Homocysteine is going to be increased with both B9, which is folate, as well as B12 deficiency, cyanocobalamin. And then methylmalonyl-CoA, that's only increased with B12 deficiency. Okay, so choice D is our correct answer. Choice E, this would be the answer, well, not the whole thing, but if we're just talking about the latter two variables here, this is what we would see with B9 deficiency, not B12. Choice E, wrong fucking answer. You know, Dylan, to make more content, like and subscribe channel. Appreciate your time. That's it.